Imagine carrying your entire life savings in cash, money you earned legally, money meant for your family's future. You're driving down a Nevada highway when flashing red and blue lights suddenly appear behind you. 30 minutes later, police are counting your money on the hood of a patrol vehicle, and by midnight, your savings are gone. Not because you were convicted of a crime, not because drugs were found, but because police believed your cash looked suspicious. To understand what was lost on that Nevada highway, you first have to understand the man who earned it, David Miller. A former military veteran, he carried the quiet discipline of his service into civilian life as a construction worker. David's hands told the story of his life. They were calloused and scarred, mapped with fine lines from 1,000 cuts. These were the hands that painstakingly saved every dollar that could be spared. The $42,000 wasn't a windfall. It was the physical embodiment of countless overtime shifts, weekends given up, the proceeds from selling his old pickup truck, and side jobs on his only days off. For David, money was never just money. It was time, the hours he couldn't get back with his kids. It was his fortress against the unpredictable storms of life. The plan was a private land sale from a family friend. Carrying the cash felt tangible, secure. He felt he had prepared for every contingency, never once imagining that the greatest risk wasn't losing the money, but having it taken from him by the very authorities meant to protect him. The first sign of trouble, a sudden, jarring bloom of light. His mind raced, searching for an infraction, a lane change without a signal, a faulty taillight. He could think of nothing. He took a deep breath, telling himself to remain calm. This would be a routine matter, resolved in minutes.
Mr. Miller, I pulled you over because you were following the truck in front of you a little too closely. Where are you headed tonight? The question was casual, but the intent behind it felt anything but. This was no longer about a traffic violation. It was becoming an interrogation. You traveling with any large amounts of currency in the vehicle, sir? Anything over, say, $10,000?
Weakly, no. It was the first and only lie he would tell, a decision made in a split second of panic, a fatal mistake.
Would you mind stepping out of the vehicle for me, sir?
To speed things up, we've called for a K9 unit to do a quick open-air sniff around your vehicle. You don't have a problem with that, do you? He knew there were no drugs in the car. But then, the dog alerted.
On the basis of the K9 alert, we are now going to conduct a search of your vehicle.
The simple canvas bag, which had represented so much hope and hard work, now looked like a piece of criminal evidence. His private financial world was now on public display on the side of a highway. The search yielded no drugs, yet the absence of contraband did not seem to matter. The K9 had alerted, and a large sum of cash had been found. The process that followed was methodical and strangely impersonal, a roadside accounting session under the stars.
Trooper, Mr. Miller, you told me you weren't carrying a large amount of currency. David, stammering, I was scared. It's my money. I have the withdrawal slips.
But his explanation seemed to fall on deaf ears. The money was no longer his. It was now an asset in a state investigation. He was presented with a seizure receipt. It was a receipt for the loss of his life savings. The paperwork told a simple, damning story that omitted all exculpatory context. No mention that no drugs were found, no arrest was made. He was alone with the silence, the empty bag, and a single piece of paper that documented the exact moment his American dream had been seized. How did a simple traffic stop escalate so quickly? The answer begins with understanding why bulk currency is treated as a primary indicator of criminal activity. This is compounded by powerful financial incentives. Under many forfeiture laws, police agencies keep a portion of what they seize, creating what critics call a dangerous profit motive. David's lie about the money was a critical turning point. To the officer, it was a deceptive behavior, a red flag confirming he had something to hide. The final piece is the controversial K9 alert. Studies have shown that a vast majority of U.S. currency is contaminated with drug residue. Critics also argue that handlers can unconsciously cue their dogs to alert, turning the animal into a tool for generating probable cause on demand. The second crucial element is the psychology of consent. Officers are trained to ask for consent in a way that makes refusal feel confrontational and suspicious. The first and most powerful tool you have is the word no. When an officer asks to search, you are being asked to give up your Fourth Amendment right. Say clearly, "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." Once the reason for the stop is resolved, the detention should end. If questioning continues, ask, "Officer, am I being detained or am I free to leave?" This forces legal clarity.
Officer, I'm not comfortable answering financial questions. While you have the right to remain silent, you do not have the right to lie. Lying destroys your credibility. The best response is to decline to answer personal financial questions.
If you must travel with cash, carry its story with you. Documentation transforms suspicious currency into a well-documented financial asset with a clear, legitimate purpose. If the worst happens, do not leave without an itemized seizure receipt. This paper is your only official record of the event and the starting point for any legal challenge. For David Miller, the end of the traffic stop was the beginning of a legal nightmare. The fight to reclaim his money would consume his life, his finances, and his peace of mind. In many forfeiture cases, the government doesn't have to prove you're guilty. You have to prove your money is innocent. Most Americans believe property can only be taken after a criminal conviction. But civil asset forfeiture changes that assumption completely, whether you support the practice or oppose it. Understanding your rights during a traffic stop could mean the difference between protecting your savings or watching years of hard work disappear on the side of a highway.